Hello and welcome again to this unit on modal verbs. In this presentation we're going to study modal verbs in past, following the previous presentation that discussed modal verbs in present and future. This is English Language 6 and this is Nestor Singer speaking, and we're going to start by discussing should. Here we have three sentences: you should have been there, you should have been there, and I should have been there. So basically, when you look at them without further context, they're basically the same thing with the exception of the third one. But if we look at these pictures here, they give us clues about what the intention was. For instance, you should have been there, particularly when you talk about a funny situation which the interlocutor missed. So you say, "Oh, it was hilarious. You should have been there." It's a funny thing. Whereas the second one is criticism. You should have been there. Why weren't you there? You said that you were going to. You should have been there. And the third one, particularly when you use it with the pronoun I, is to talk about regrets. I should have been there. I feel guilt about it. Now, you probably remember her. If you don't, that is part of a video which became fairly popular in 2001, Britney Spears with her hit song Oops, I Did Again. Now, this is in here. It's quite remarkable. The astronaut says that he went to the bottom of the ocean to collect the necklace from Titanic, the Cor le Mer, the ocean of the heart of the ocean, and gives it to her in Mars. And she remarkably replies, "Oh, you shouldn't have." You shouldn't have basically is a ready-made expression used when somebody does something for you and you simply are grateful for it, but you say that it was not necessary. Probably if you were very, very young at the time, you find that this is too old school for you, and that's perfectly fine. Now, in the case of should, it has the same uses that it has in present, but in past. We have to play there a bit. I should have thought you would go again. Remember that this is structure, particularly with the verb think, is used when you want to talk, when you want to soften your message and make your opinion less direct. You might recognize the second use, strange, funny, odd. Remember, we discussed that when you use the verb to be plus one of those adjectives and should, we talk about a coincidence, chance, remember? So in this case, the verb to be is in past. So whenever the verb is in past, should must take the past form as well. And since it doesn't have a past form per se, we have to add the have and the verb, and then the verb in past participle. It was strange that we should have been in the same class. And he should have arrived by now. That is an assumption based on the facts that I know. Could. I could have been a brilliant artist. That basically means that I had the capability of becoming a good artist. I had the ability, I had the skills. However, you may interpret this sentence in a slightly different way. I could have been a brilliant artist, but now I'm a teacher. So you could say that you had the potential to do something, but in the end, you didn't do it. This is very similar to the last sentence here. I could have stayed in the UK, but I didn't. So it will basically depend how you interpret the sentence based on the context. Anyone could have done it. That it's basically deduction, and this just couldn't have been better. You use that with better and worse in particular to describe a situation. Now, whether this sentence is ironic or not, that'll depend on the context, which we don't have here. This could be just a statement that I'm really, really happy and glad, or it could be a sarcasm. Now, I'm separating these uses from the ones that we discussed last week, in which could refers to a past situation by itself without adding the have been structure. And we got I could ride a bike when I was 5 again. That was a general past ability. It was a cold day and I could see no one on the streets, and that is a specific situation in the past. That you were able to do something. Remember that you use to be able to talk about specific situations in the past. However, when you use the verb of senses, that is see, smell, taste, you use could. You have to use could. I could see, I could smell, I could hear. And the last sentence, when I was 16, I could stay up only until 11. That is permission, that I was granted permission to do something. May or might have. Here we got he might have killed Mrs. Jones, which is basically deduction. You can replace may and might here, and the sentence won't vary much, really. You might have told me you were leaving early. That is, of course, criticism. Don't you ever do that again? You might have died, which is something that could have happened, but it didn't, fortunately. If we look at these two last sentences closely, you will see that the intention is basically the same thing, that of criticism, that you are complaining about something. The last sentence here, in the last example, is a ready-made phrase, very common, that it has the verb know. It has to be the verb know. There is a typo there that I will correct after I finish recording. It has to say, I might have known. The verb should be in participle, but I will replace that later. I might have known he would be late. I might have known he would be late. We use this structure when we want to talk ironically about somebody else's behavior, typical behavior most of the time. I might have known he would be late. So remember, it's might have known with the verb in past participle. I will replace this at the end of the presentation. And to sum up, these are some other modal verbs in past. We use can't have, must have to talk about certainties, something that is impossible or absolutely possible in terms of deduction. And we use that with the other surely most of the time. Surely you can't have, surely someone must have, particularly with those two. I would have gone to Russia, but I didn't want to leave Lisa. So again, this is very similar to the use of could. I would have gone, I had the opportunity and I could have, but I didn't because of this. And the last use that we got here, someone called today, that would have been Mark, is related to the use of will. Remember that in present, when we talk about certainty, will shows the highest degree of certainty of all. And that in past is not would by itself, but would have been. You need the would have been. That would have been Mark. So that basically reflects absolute certainty in past. As a bonus track, I would say that we have some adverbs which are typically used with modal verbs. Those are easily, just, really, and well. We discussed well in the previous session. We discussed that we only use it with may, might, and could. But here we got easily, just, and really, and you can place them basically everywhere anywhere you want. Most of the time it follows the modal verb, as you can see in these examples. And to conclude, Taylor Swift sings to modal verbs. You might have heard the song, but if you haven't, it's perfectly fine. Okay, so that's basically everything that we had to discuss today. As homework, you were to work on exercises 2 and 3. And next session, we will deal with the rest of the exercises of chapter 12 before start discussing the first unit of the course book that I designed for you. So I hope that you enjoyed the presentation, and we'll see each other next class.